My experience with race over the course of my lifetime has been an interesting one. I'm Black, and having lived in both the North and South of America, I've experienced a fair amount of discrimination and had many race-based encounters over the years. In my experience, the worst of it has been in the South, but that isn't to say that the time I spent in the North was free from discrimination. I think I was 11 the first time I noticed that I was being followed around a convenience store. When I was in high school, I grew accustomed to the scowls I would receive from the older folks when I would hold hands in Publix with my white girlfriend. When I was growing up, I kind of just expected that these things were part of being Black. At the time, I wasn't aware of racism happening at the institutional level, even though my father always did his best to explain to me that it was there and operating against me regardless of my ability to see it. He once told me a story about how an advisor during his undergraduate years had told him that he wasn't cut out for work in the medical field, and that it was the very same advisor that begrudgingly handed him his certificate for high honors when he graduated years later. A fellow classmate of mine once told me a story in which an advisor had recommended a less challenging major to him after he received a B in a class, when he had otherwise been doing well. I too have had a similar experience with advising. I had gone to advising just to confirm which classes I was taking the following semester, and my advisor told me that I was severely off track and needed to change my major to something less challenging, such as family, youth, and community services. I was also told that maybe college just wasn't for me. As you could probably guess, I was dejected and disheartened at the idea of switching to such a major, when at the time I was majoring in microbiology. After a week or so, I decided to go back once more to see if I was really out of options, and I spoke to a different advisor. The second advisor I talked to told me that I wasn't in bad shape and laid out steps for me to get back on track. He certainly never suggested once that I had to change my major. I tried not to think about the situation racially, but the more I thought about it, the more racial it felt. The second advisor I spoke to just so happened to also be Black. My dad is Black, and so is my classmate who shared the other story. So that's 3 young Black men who talked to 3 white advisors and were all told unnecessarily that they had to change their majors. My heart broke thinking about how many others before me were turned away from their dreams by their advisors. How many students had also been told that they couldn't achieve their goals and left without getting a second opinion. Just a few words at such a critical juncture can have major irreversible consequences for the trajectory of an individual's life. Nationally, 62% of African Americans don't finish their degree after 6 years of enrollment. With more than half of Black students not finishing after 6 years, I wonder how many times this same story has played out across the country. How many could have actually finished their degrees and landed better paying jobs? Advisors of all people should be there to encourage instead of discourage education, and it is at the institutional level that racism can be the most harmful. A study done in September of 2018 revealed troubling news. In the study, emails in which the researchers posed as prospective Black students were sent to admissions officers of various universities. What they found was that white admissions officers were 37% less likely to respond to emails from Black students who had expressed an interest in anti-racial activism in their email. Furthermore, Black female students who expressed interest in anti-racial activism were 50% less likely to receive a response from white male advisors. However, if a Black female student expressed interest in environmental activism, they received a response rate of 74%. The data points to the fact that the attitudes challenging the status quo of race on campus are much less welcome from prospective Black students. The first step in moving towards a more equitable society for all is admitting that there is a problem. Only then can we begin moving in the right direction. Thank you for your time, and now I'd like to leave you with a clip from a video assigned earlier in the course.
Another angry Black woman.
Of course, beyond just being annoying, some mosquitoes carry truly threatening diseases that can mess up your life for years.
Astrophysics? Maybe you should try this challenging major.
Ow! My dreams.
And other mosquitoes carry strains that can even kill you.
He looked like he was up to trouble, okay?